What's going on, boys? NealGuides here. Well, let me just save you some time. There is no point of doing this SBC. It is not worth 370k. Now, this is very important. Take this from someone who's used Wan-Bissaka at centre-back on 7 chemistry the entire game. Since he came out, when the game came out, I used Semedo as centre-back. Right next to him was Wan-Bissaka. Top tier centre-back. I used him on 7 chemistry with an anchor. I thought it was a really, really good card. This is all that you need to use him in centre-back. Now, the issue is with his new card now. Number one is you're paying for the pace downgrade. Now, pace is what made Wan-Bissaka overpowered in the first place. Now you're losing a lot of pace. Second thing is, okay, yes, we can look at his stats. There are a few things that have been upgraded, like his passing. Passing is not important for a centre-back. That's just simple, right? Then you're looking at the jumping. Now, this is jump. If the jumping was 95, okay, or something like that, then you can argue it's somewhat worth it. His jumping has gone up by 8. And that's the thing. Do you really need to use this Wan-Bissaka card? Probably not. Now listen, if it was 100k or 150k, I'll say by all means, go ahead and do it. But it's the best thing I can give an example, right? Let's say you compare Wan-Bissaka and you compared his other card, Wan-Bissaka. And let's say you both, well, let's say you played him with it. You know what, let's give him an anchor, because I think that'll give you the best example. So you put a shadow on him and put an anchor on this one. As you can see, very, very similar stats. Both of them, obviously this one on the left was a shadow, one on the right is an anchor. Completely fine. We go over down to the bottom, to the main, of course no agility and balance boost. The main thing, okay, yes, he's got a tiny bit more interceptions, 2 more defensive awareness, and maybe a tiny bit more stand tackling. Slide tackling is exactly the same. So if you think about it, there's actually no difference in the cards. Now the question you're going to say to me is, okay, what if you play this guy on 7 chemistry? Now, if you played him on 7 chemistry, again, the changes are not big enough to warrant you to buy the card. That 85 strength, are you going to notice a big difference? Probably not. With the jumping, are you going to notice that much of a difference? Probably not. Even if you put a shadow on him, is it worth the money at the end of the day? I would say no. So my best advice is just get gold Wan-Bissaka. Play him in centre-back. Do not worry what anyone else tells you, because I've used this card in centre-back since the day the game came out. And in case you're worried, your reservations may be on his jumping, most crosses in general are chest height and below because of driven crosses. So you don't have to worry about it. He's 6 foot anyway, so he doesn't really need that much of a height boost. You're completely fine. He's a top tier centre-back as is his gold card. Don't waste your time about going for that centre-back war card. Now, if you do consider, let's say you're really considering spending 305k on the Wan-Bissaka card, you might as well just buy Walker instead. Yes, I agree. The price difference is there. You could argue it's almost 200k more in total. But you can argue Walker has much better stats overall compared to Wan-Bissaka. And therefore, you can argue Walker just with the pace alone. I mean, you can put a Sentinel. You can put a Sentinel on Walker. In fact, you can put an anchor on him and he almost maxed out his pace and maxed out all his defensive stats. And can argue he has what Wan-Bissaka has. But more importantly, above everything, if you get base Walker, now I know Walker's agility and balance is not that good as Wan-Bissaka's, that I'm aware of, but if you just put an anchor, let's say you put an anchor on him on 7 chemistry, even if you put let's say a shadow on him, or let's say even an anchor, at that point it's probably not worth spending the extra money and getting Wan-Bissaka. You're probably better off getting Walker, because that way you get better jumping, better stamina, you get that physicality matching. Yes, you lose a little bit on the defensive awareness and so on, but most of the time with the reactions to everything else at the end of the day, it works out being a better card, especially with the pace. Don't forget, base stats always over chemistry boost, but that's my opinion. Is it worth doing it? Absolutely not. Get the gold card, it's more than good enough. If you really want to get a centre back, go get someone like Kyle Walker. At least he's tradable, so you don't like him, you can at least sell him. But this card just stuck. So yes, he's a very good card. Is he worth it? Unfortunately not. That's my take on Mr. Wan-Bissaka indeed.